Welcome to Australian Citizenship class on YouTube. This video reviews the key words in the book Australian Citizenship, Our Common Bond, and has pictures to help you better understand the words in English. The Our Common Bond booklet can be downloaded for free at the Department of Home Affairs website. It's available in 40 community languages. And of course, feel free to check out the other videos on this channel. There are 40 videos in easy English that explain every testable part in our common bond. Okay, let's get started on part 1, Australia and its people. 1. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Australia's first inhabitants are the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, who have the oldest continuous cultures and traditions in the world. They've been in Australia for 65,000 years. 2. Early days of European settlement. European settlement started when the first 11 convict ships, which became known as the First Fleet, arrived from Great Britain on the 26th of January, 1788. The first governor of the colony of New South Wales was Captain Arthur Phillip. In 1851, a gold rush began when gold was discovered in the colonies of New South Wales and Victoria. People from all around the world came to these colonies to try to make their fortunes. Chinese people, arriving at the time, were the first large group of migrants who were not from Europe. 3. The nation of Australia. In 1901, the separate colonies were united into a federation of states called the Commonwealth of Australia. In the first half of the 20th century, there were programs to encourage many British migrants to settle in Australia. After World War II, many Europeans came to Australia to build a new life. In recent years, our migration and refugee programs have brought people to Australia from all over the world. People have come here to join family, to make a new life, or to escape poverty, war, or persecution. Australia's national language is English. Migrants should try to learn and use English to help them participate in Australian society. Communicating in English is important for making the most of living and working in Australia. 4. Australia's states and territories. The Commonwealth of Australia is a federation of states and territories. There are 6 states and 2 mainland territories. Canberra is Australia's capital city, and each state and mainland territory has its own capital. Sydney is the capital of New South Wales. Melbourne is the capital of Victoria. Brisbane is the capital of Queensland. Perth is the capital of Western Australia. Hobart is the capital of Tasmania. And Canberra is the capital of the Australian Capital Territory. Darwin is the capital of the Northern Territory. 5. Traditions, welcome to country, and acknowledgement of country protocols. A welcome to country is a cultural practice performed by an Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander, custodian of the local region, welcoming visitors to their traditional land. This was traditionally performed to ensure visitors had a safe and protected journey during their time on that land. An acknowledgement of country can be delivered by anyone. It is an opportunity to recognize that the gathering is on Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander land, to pay respect to traditional custodians, and to pay respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples in attendance. 6. Important days for Australians: Australia Day and Anzac Day. On the 26th of January each year, we celebrate Australia Day. It is the anniversary of the arrival of the First Fleet from Great Britain in 1788. Australia Day is marked by events across Australia, including special citizenship ceremonies. Anzac Day is commemorated on the 25th of April each year. Anzac Day is named after the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, which landed at Gallipoli in Turkey during World War I on the 25th of April, 1915. Anzac Day is a solemn day where we remember the sacrifice of all Australians who served and died in wars, conflicts, and peacekeeping operations. 7. Australia's flags. The Australian national flag is blue, white, and red. We can see the Union Jack, which comes from the United Kingdom. There is the Commonwealth Star. Each point represents a different state and territory in Australia. The Southern Cross on the right is a group of stars that can be seen in the southern sky. The Australian Aboriginal flag is black, red, and yellow. The top half is black and represents the Aboriginal peoples of Australia. The bottom half is red and represents the earth. The yellow circle represents the sun. The Torres Strait Islander flag is green, blue, black, and white. The green stripes represent the land. The blue panel in the center represents the sea. The black lines represent the Torres Strait Islander people. And the white dancer's headdress in the center is a symbol for all Torres Strait Islanders. The points of the white star represent the island groups in the Torres Strait, and the color white symbolizes peace. 8. Australia's symbols. The Commonwealth Coat of Arms is the official symbol of the Commonwealth of Australia. It identifies the authority and property of the Commonwealth of Australia. Australia's national flower is the golden wattle. Australia's national colours are green and gold, the colours of the golden wattle. The uniforms of our national sports teams are usually green and gold. The opal is Australia's national gemstone. According to Aboriginal legend, a rainbow touched the earth and created the colours of the opal. 9. Australia's national anthem. Advance Australia Fair is Australia's national anthem. It is sung on occasions of national importance, including at Australian citizenship ceremonies and major sporting events. That's the end of Part 1, Australia and its people. Videos 1 to 13 give more information and vocabulary study of the key words in this chapter. You can also try out Practice Test 1 to test your understanding of this chapter. Write your score and any questions you have in the comments below. I'm here to help. Are you ready for the next chapter? Part 2. Australia's Democratic Beliefs, Rights, and Liberties. 10. Our democratic beliefs. Parliamentary democracy means that the power of government comes from the Australian people because Australian citizens vote for people to represent them in Parliament. The representatives in Parliament must answer to the people through elections for the decisions they make. The rule of law means that all Australians are equal under the law. Living peacefully is the belief that change should occur through discussion, peaceful persuasion, and the democratic process. Respect for all individuals, regardless of background, means that every individual, regardless of their background, has rights and equality under Australian law. 11. Our freedoms. Freedom of speech means that people can say and write what they think and discuss their ideas with others. Freedom of expression means that people can express their views, including through art, film, music, and literature. People are free to meet in public or private places for social or political discussion. Freedom of association is the right to form and join associations to pursue common goals. At all times, the laws of Australia must be obeyed. This means that such gatherings must be peaceful and must not injure any person or damage any property. Freedom of religion means that people in Australia are free to follow any religion they choose. They may also not choose to follow a religion. Australia has no official religion. The government and the law treat all citizens equally, whatever their religion or beliefs. 12. Our equalities. Gender equality means that men and women have equal rights in Australia. It is against the law to discriminate against a person because of their gender. Equality of opportunity and a fair go means that what someone achieves in life should be as a result of their talents, work, and effort, rather than their wealth or background. 13. Responsibilities and privileges of Australian citizenship. Responsibilities. What you will give Australia. Obey the laws of Australia. Vote in federal and state or territory elections and in a referendum. Defend Australia should the need arise. Serve on a jury if called to do so. 14. Privileges. What Australia will give you. Vote in federal and state or territory elections and in a referendum. Apply for children born overseas to become Australian citizens by descent. Apply for a job in the Australian Public Service or in the Australian Defence Force. Seek election to Parliament. Apply for an Australian passport and re-enter Australia freely. Ask for consular assistance from an Australian official whilst overseas. 15. Participating in Australian society. Australia encourages all citizens to actively participate in society. For example, you can join neighborhood and local community organizations, volunteer to do social and community work, join an arts or cultural organization, and actively participate in political life. Paying tax is another important way you directly contribute to the Australian community and is required by law. Taxes are spent on services, including government funded healthcare and education, defense, roads and railways, and social security. That's the end of part 2, Australia's democratic beliefs, rights, and liberties. Videos 15 to 19 give more information and vocabulary study of the key words in this chapter. You can also try out Practice Test 2 to test your understanding of this chapter. Are you ready for part 3? Part 3, Government and the Law in Australia. 16. How do I have my say? Voting. In Australia, citizens aged 18 years or over must enroll to vote in federal, state, and territory elections and referenda on constitutional change. Voting is by secret ballot, so you are free and safe to vote for any candidate. 17. How did we establish our system of government? Federation. On the 1st of January 1901, the colonies were united into a federation of states called the Commonwealth of Australia. The Australian Constitution is the legal document that sets out the basic rules for the government of Australia. Think of it as Australia's rule book. It came into effect on the 1st of January 1901. The Australian people can change the Australian Constitution by voting in a referendum. 18. How is the power of government controlled? The Australian Constitution divides the power of government between the legislative, executive, and judicial powers to stop one person or one group from holding all of the power. The Parliament, or legislative power, is the power to make laws. Parliament has the power to make and change the laws in Australia. Parliament is made up of representatives who are elected by the people of Australia. The executive power is the power to put the laws into practice. The executive power includes the Prime Minister, Australian government ministers, and the Governor General. Ministers are responsible for government departments. Judicial power. Judges have the power to interpret and apply the law. Courts and judges are independent of Parliament and government. 19. Who is Australia's head of state? Australia's head of state is the King of Australia, His Majesty King Charles III. The King of Australia appoints the Governor General as his representative in Australia. Australia is a constitutional monarchy, which means that the King is Australia's head of state, but has to act in accordance with the Constitution. Remember, Australia's rulebook. The Governor General is not part of the government and must remain neutral. The Governor General's main role is to sign all bills passed by the Australian Parliament into law. This is called royal assent. 20. Who are some of Australia's leaders? The leader of the Australian government is called the Prime Minister. The leader of a state government is called a Premier. The leader of a territory government is called a Chief Minister. (21) How is Australia governed? The Australian government is also called the federal government or the Commonwealth government. The government is made up of members of the Australian Parliament, which has two houses, the House of Representatives and the Senate. In a federal election, Australian citizens vote to elect representatives to each House of Parliament. In the House of Representatives, 150 members of Parliament, or MPs, represent the people in their electorate, or area. The role of the House of Representatives is to consider, debate, and vote on proposals for new laws or changes to the laws, and discuss matters of national importance. In the Senate, all states are equally represented, regardless of their size or population. There are 76 senators. State governments operate in a similar way to the Australian government. Each state government has its own parliament and constitution. The state and the Northern Territory are divided into local government areas. Each area has its own local council. Councils are responsible for planning and delivering services to their local community. 22. What do the three levels of government do? The Australian government is responsible for things like taxation, immigration, and defence. Have a look on the screen to see some other things that the Australian government is responsible for. State and territory governments are responsible for things like schools, hospitals, police, and ambulance services. Have a look at the screen to see more examples. Local governments are responsible for things like rubbish collection, parks, swimming pools, sewage, town planning. See more examples on the screen. 23. What role do political parties play in the way that Australia is governed? A political party is a group of people who share similar ideas about how a country should be governed. They work together to have the party's ideas turned into laws. The main political parties in Australia are the Liberal Party of Australia, the Australian Labor Party, the Nationals, and the Australian Greens. Parliamentarians who do not belong to any political party are called independents. In Australia, people are free to join a political party if they choose. 24. How is the Australian government formed? After a federal election, the Australian government is generally formed by the party or coalition of parties with the majority of members in the House of Representatives. The leader of this party becomes the leader of the Australian government, the Prime Minister. After a federal election, the party or coalition of parties with the second largest number of members in the House of Representatives forms the opposition. Its leader is called the Leader of the Opposition. The Prime Minister recommends members of the House of Representatives or senators to become ministers in the Australian government. Government ministers are responsible for an area of government called a portfolio, such as employment, Indigenous affairs, or the Treasury. Ministers with the most important portfolios make up the cabinet, which is the key decision-making body of government. (25) How are laws made? If a member of the Australian Parliament proposes to introduce a new law or change an existing one, this proposal is called a bill. The House of Representatives and the Senate consider, debate, and vote on whether they agree with the bill. If the majority of members in each House of Parliament agree to the bill, it goes to the Governor-General. The Governor-General signs a bill so that it becomes a law. This is called royal assent. State and territory parliaments make their own laws in similar ways. (26) How are laws enforced? The courts in Australia are independent. A court will decide if a person has or has not broken the law and decide the penalty. Courts can only base their decision on the evidence before them. State and territory parliaments make their own laws in similar ways. The judge or magistrate is the highest authority in a court. They are independent, and no one can tell them what to decide. A jury is a group of ordinary Australian citizens, randomly chosen from the general population. The role of a jury is to decide in court if a person is innocent or guilty. In a criminal trial, if the jury finds a person guilty, the judge decides the penalty. The police maintain peace and order in the community. It is their job to protect life and property. They are independent of the government. If the police believe that someone has broken the law, they can arrest them and bring them before a court of law. Australia also has a national police force called the Australian Federal Police, AFP. The AFP investigates crimes against federal laws, for example, drug trafficking, crimes against national security, and crimes against the environment. In Australia, it is a serious crime to bribe the police. It is a crime to even offer a bribe to a police officer. 27. Criminal offences in Australia. Some of the most serious crimes include murder, assault, sexual assault, violence against people or property, armed robbery or theft, having sexual relations with children or young people who are aged below the legal age of consent, dangerous driving of a motor car, possession of illegal drugs, and fraud. Domestic and family violence is not accepted and is against the law. Road and traffic rules are controlled by state and territory governments. People can be fined or sent to prison for breaking traffic laws. That's the end of Part 3, Government and the Law in Australia. Videos 21 to 32 give more information and vocabulary study of the key words in this chapter. You can also try out Practice Test 3 to test your understanding of this chapter. Are you ready for Part 4? Part 4, Australian Values. Australian values, based on freedom, respect, fairness, and equality of opportunity, are central to our community remaining a secure, prosperous, and peaceful place to live. You might recognize some of these words from Part 2, Australia's democratic beliefs, rights, and liberties. 28. Commitment to the rule of law. Commitment to the rule of law. Under the rule of law, all Australians are equal in relation to the law, and no person or group is above the law. In Australia, everybody should obey the law and not break it at any time. Otherwise, you will face penalties. You should follow the law even if no one is watching. 29. Parliamentary democracy. Parliamentary democracy. The power of the government comes from the Australian people because Australian citizens vote for people to represent them in Parliament. Number 30. Freedom of speech. People in Australia should be able to express their ideas freely, so long as it is within the law. 31. Freedom of association. People are free to join or leave any group voluntarily, as long as it is within the law. 32. Freedom of religion. Australia has no official national religion, and people in Australia are free to follow any religion they choose. The government treats all citizens equally, whatever their religion or beliefs. However, religious practices must not break Australian laws. 33. Equality of all people under the law. Australian society values the equal rights of all people, regardless of gender, sexual orientation, age, disability, religion, race, or national or ethnic origin. Both men and women have the right to make their own independent choices about personal matters, such as marriage and religion, and are protected by the law from intimidation or violence. 34. Equality of opportunity and a fair go. Australians believe that everyone deserves a fair go, and people should not be limited by any kind of class distinction. Everyone, regardless of their background, is given an equal opportunity to achieve success in life, and ensuring that everyone has the same legal rights is an important aspect of fairness in Australian society. 35. Mutual respect and tolerance for others. Australians believe in peaceful disagreement and, above all, the right to be safe and free from violence and intimidation. 36. Our community, making a contribution. Australians expect everyone living in Australia to participate in our society and make a contribution to our community. Everyone has a responsibility to try and support themselves and their families when they are able to do so. 37. Our community, compassion for those in need. Australians value mateship. We help each other in times of need. In this spirit of mateship, Australia has a strong tradition of community service and volunteering to look out for each other and strengthen the community. Volunteering is a great opportunity to share knowledge, learn new skills, and increase your integration into and sense of belonging to the Australian community. English as the national language. It is important to learn to speak English because it helps to get an education, a job, and better integrate into the community. It is essential for economic participation and social cohesion. 39. Our community, helping to keep our society safe. In Australia, we each have responsibilities to help protect Australian society. Similarly, if a person in Australia sees or has knowledge of a child being abused, they should report this to the police to investigate. 40. Our community, loyalty to Australia. Australian citizens within Australia must follow all Australian laws at all times. All Australian citizens share the obligation not to undermine Australia's interests and security. That's the end of Part 4, Australian Values. Videos 34 to 40 give more information and vocabulary study of the key words in this chapter. You can also try out Practice Test 4 to test your understanding of this chapter. Write your score and any questions you have in the comments below. I'm here to help. Australia welcomes you. Citizenship is our common bond.